Hey folks, it's officially still summer and it feels like it out there. If you look at the latest temperatures across the valley, we're still showing 100 degrees in the west, most places in the 90s, and then the beach cooler at about 86 degrees this afternoon, but it's still a very warm day across the area. That may change tomorrow, regardless of whether that front's able to push in or not. I think there's a decent chance of some rain, and that should help keep temperatures down at least a little bit. So let's look at what Futuretrack suggests. We stop it at 5 a.m. and notice it's got temperature down to 69 degrees in Rio Grande City. Everybody else 79 or 80 at 5 o'clock in the morning. This is the NAM model, the North American model. This is the higher resolution model that goes out in the future a couple of days. And look what it says happens tomorrow. And this is the model that yesterday still pushes the front end. So let's now go forward to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Keep in mind today at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we're in the low 90s. Look at Rio Grande City. Now, this model is one out of several, and some other ones say the front's never going to get here. Regardless, the front's a lot farther than the models ever said it would get anyway. This may be extreme. It may not be that cool, but there's potential for a pretty good cool down regardless, because it could maybe raining, and that could keep temperatures down a bit anyway. By 10 o'clock, most places in the low 70s. Now, this model says by Friday morning, we do cool into the upper 60s, at least briefly, and then we warm back up into the 70s and 80s by the afternoon hours on Friday. So we bounce back pretty quickly, but at least a shot at some cooler temperatures. Now, we're officially putting a forecast high in there tomorrow of 90. That could verify, especially close to the coast. If you're farther to the west, and if that front pushes in like the NAM says, you're not going to get to 90. But I think, again, closer to the coast, takes longer for the front to get there. You could warm up before the front comes in. So you may reach it, Brownsville, Harlingen, where McAllen or Rio Grande City may not. Friday stays relatively mild at 89, and then Saturday we're back to 93. There's the front right now. It's 50 in Abilene. 72 in Del Rio. It's been in the 60s most of the day in Del Rio. And again, it just pushes southward tonight, triggering showers and storms. In fact, if we look locally, here's what we see happening tomorrow. Just scattered showers begin to break out during the morning hours, and then scattered stuff stays with us much of the daytime tomorrow. And I think our chance of rain tomorrow is going to be at about 50%, or 60% rather. Then it tapers off, and then it drops off even more after that. But notice it doesn't go away. And for next week, starting Sunday, rain chances go up quite a lot once again. We'll talk more about that at 6. In the meantime, for tonight, spotty showers, 79 for a low. Tomorrow, 90 for a high, but much of the day probably cooler than that, especially if you're getting rained on and that front happens to push in. It could be even cooler than that. Here's a look at the next 7 days. We go 90, 89, 93. Chance of rain stays with us into next week, and notice daytime highs stay in the 90s. I think Friday morning's low. We've got it at 75. It could be cooler than that if that front is able to push all the way through. At least in the western part of the valley, closer to the coast, you'll be closer to normal. That's your updated First Warn 5 accurate with the forecast.